Okay, we are now recording. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start by watching this video about Greta Thunberg. Have you heard anything about her?
I have. She's awesome.
She's pretty incredible. What do you know about her already, Garrett?
I can't remember if it's Asperger's or autism. And she's really becoming a very powerful face in the climate movement.
Right.
Strong voice for it.
So she's a high school student like you. And she really has had a big voice in what we're doing now. So this is a video of her addressing the United Nations, and I want you to think, as she's talking, I want you to think about climate change and about your ecological footprint. I want you to think about whether it's sustainable and what you can do to make a difference, like Greta is making a difference. And I want to know if you agree with her or disagree with her, because I know we're in an agricultural community. We're very conservative here. I'm sure that there's going to be some disagreement. I want to talk about that. So let's. Like, you can think about Mike Simpson while we're waiting.
I can't hear it.
You cannot hear it. Thank you for telling me that. Okay, let me see. I can. I can't make it big. Wait, oh, that's because, okay, so I'm screen sharing. I need to audio share, right? Do you know how that works?
I don't, to be honest. If you want, you can send me the link and then I'll just watch it real quick.
Okay, it's on the lesson plan.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
right there.
You know what? Maybe this is it. Okay, let's see if this works.
Okay.
It's all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
Okay, so I wrote down here a few things that, stop. Okay, I wrote down a few things that I heard from her, but what did you hear from her, Garrett?
I think so I'll be honest, I've seen this one before. I've seen it a few times, and the first time I saw it, I cried. The first time I watched it, just by the pure passion she had behind her words. You know, whether people think she's right or wrong, she definitely has a strong belief in what she's saying. I don't doubt she thinks what she thinks, but I have to agree with her on most things. That, you know, there's politicians out there that say we're listening and we hear you, but then there's no action, and it's very, very frustrating to constantly be lied to. So yeah.
So some of the things that I wrote down is that as a politician, in that they're looking for economic growth rather than fixing the problem. But because of that, then that's causing the failure of entire ecosystems, you know, and people's lives and livelihoods are being affected because of it. And she says the science is crystal clear for the last 30 years. So things like that, that's what we want to, that's why we're here today. We're here to talk about our ecological footprint and how, if it's sustainable, and what we can do as students, as teachers, as people to reduce our ecological footprint. So by the end of this class today, I want you all to think about and write down things that you can do personally to change and reduce your ecological footprint. Okay, so with that, let's I know it's on here. With that, let's jump into we're going to, because it's just you and I, we're going to use a fictional family in the United States, and then we're going to use a fictional family in Africa. Okay. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, so we can do it together. Okay. So this is an ecological footprint calculator. All right.
Cool.
So it says, how many planets do we need if everybody lives the way you live? Now, I'm going to tell you, I took this already for the way that I live, and I was really surprised because I ride my bike, I grow a garden, I live in a small home, I share a vehicle with my kids. I don't know, like I just thought I had a pretty small ecological footprint, and it turns out that it would take 3 worlds just to sustain my lifestyle. Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the fictional American family, okay?
Yep.
All right, so how often do you eat animal-based products? A fictional American family would generally have meat 2 to 3 times a day. Would you agree with that?
I would, because that's what I do.
Okay, so it would be a balanced meal of meat and vegetables, at least a few times a week, if not daily, right?
Mhm.
Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay. How much of the food that you eat is unprocessed, unpackaged, or locally grown?
Oof. Not a lot.
Okay. Do you happen to know, like, source-wise, if it's like within a couple 100 miles?
I honestly have no idea.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it down to, do you grow a garden, Garrett?
No, I don't.
Do you ever harvest your own meat, like fishing or hunting?
No, I don't.
No. Okay, so everything you eat is bought at the store.
That's correct.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say 0%. What do you think? Is that accurate?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's really accurate.
Okay. All right, which housing type best describes your home? If we're just talking about a regular family, middle-class family, we're gonna say a freestanding home, running water. We're not gonna give them a fancy house or anything. It's just gonna be a regular, normal home, all right? What materials most likely their home is going to be made with? Wood or brick or concrete? So we're going to give them a brick house. How many people live in your household? I'm going to say 7 because there's 7 in my house. But what would you say an average home size of middle class income would be?
I know it's decreasing, so maybe like 4.
For square footage?
Oh, for square foot, I don't know.
Oh, the family size. So we're going to put the family size at 4. What do you think the square footage size should be for a family of 4?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I
Okay.
don't even know what I live in.
I'm going to go ahead and say 1,500 square feet. That's a fairly modest home as far as I know, but we'll give them a modest home. Okay. Do you have electricity in your home? Yes. How energy efficient is your home? Well insulated, efficient lighting and appliances, and careful use. I think that's, you know, as somebody that was like forward thinking, that's probably the level that they would go to. What percentage of your home's electricity comes from renewable resources? So here in Idaho, we are allowed to pay extra on, well, here in Rexburg, we're allowed to pay extra on our power bill to pay for renewable resource energy. So I do that. I pay I pay a little bit extra so that I can have wind power. But that's only 10% of my usage. And that's all I can pay for. I can't pay for 100% of my usage. Be solar or wind. Okay, so compared to your neighbors, how much trash do you generate? A family of 4, especially in Rexburg, I'm going to say that they're generating less garbage than another family in Rexburg. Okay, now here's one. How far do you travel by car or motorcycle each week? If somebody was living in Rexburg, I don't know, how far do you say you travel, you and your wife?
We stay in Rexburg pretty much every day. So just really to work for her is probably like 10 miles there and there. So maybe 20 miles times 5.
So she's doing about 100 miles a week.
Yeah, and that's her. And then I just go to the school and back. So like, what's that? Like just a few miles there and back.
And so you're doing about 10. Okay,
yeah,
so
and then we might go out to Idaho Falls like once a week.
Okay.
So how far is that? Like 30-ish miles?
And so 60 round trip.
Guessing.
So we're gonna say 170 miles.
Sounds great.
Okay, great. What is the average fuel economy of the vehicle you use most often?
I know we get 35 miles a gallon on the freeway, which is pretty good, I hear.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to use this bottom one. Efficient or electric, inefficient, inefficient.
Maybe that's just the motorcycles or mopeds.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily that you have a moped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know why it's on there. Let's click on the little dot. It says, okay, no, I don't know. So we're gonna go ahead. Oh, maybe it's just saying you have 2 vehicles. So the 2 vehicles that you use most often, are they both 35 miles to the gallon?
Yeah, they're both Subarus. I think our Outback, it's like probably around 30 if I had to guess though.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
So I'm gonna put one at 35 and one at 30. Okay. When you travel by car, how often do you carpool?
Like never. Yeah.
All right. How far do you travel on public transportation each week?
Never.
Okay. How many hours do you fly each year?
None. I'm terrified of airplanes.
Okay, no, fine. Okay, so it would take for our fictional American family, it would take 4 Earths to support their lifestyle for everybody on Earth.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's if everyone lived like me, basically.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so based on our time, I'm going to go ahead and not do the second fictional family, but you get the idea. Now there's some information here. like this one, it says, how do you compare your average number of Earths to these other countries? So USA is 5 Earths per per person. And then here it says, why can't I get my footprint score within the means of 1 planet? And it goes on to say that's because we don't have influence over all of our lifestyle choices. Like, we can't influence our government currently. Like I was saying, like, I can only pay for 10% wind power right now. I can't pay for 100%. So that's like us being proactive and working with our government, right? Okay. So, so we talked about what is your household ecological footprint? It was 4 Earths, right?
Yes.
So if the entire population lived the way that you did, we would need 4 Earths to be able to hold them. What are some factors? What do you think are some of those factors for your ecological footprint?
I eat a ton of food. I eat it for lunch and dinner, like almost every day.
So meat?
Yeah, it's really bad. I'm starting to look into what is it called? Like the Impossible Company or something, where it's like vegetarian meat, but it still tastes like meat.
Uh-huh.
But it's super expensive. Like, it's in Albertsons and stuff. So I always just buy the cheaper beef and stuff. And like, I like to grill, so I cook carne asada, hamburgers, chicken, all, like, it's just meat's the best. I eat a lot of it, unfortunately.
Okay, so you think one of your major factors is meat consumption?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can you think of any other factors that might raise an ecological footprint?
I mean, I know cars are a huge contributor.
Mm-hmm.
I know I don't drive a lot compared to the average American, but if you compared me probably to other countries, it's a lot.
Okay. Yeah. I have a friend from Zimbabwe, and he never even drove until he moved to the United States. So he spent his entire life walking.
That's crazy. Well, it's not crazy. It's just.
Yeah, it's so different though, right? It's just, and so then he, when he moved here, bought a $600 car, and he was like, wow, this is amazing. I can go anywhere, because he literally lived within a 60-mile radius of his home in Africa.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, it is different. And then let's see, materials. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is renewable resources. So the material that you build your home with, or the material, or the resource that you power your home with, or the resources that get you the food, or cook the food that you have. All of those kind of things are going to be factors in your ecologic footprint. So let's now go to Kahoot. And we're just going to use Kahoot today to help us understand some of the vocabulary words that we are going to discuss today. Okay, so am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
Can you see Kahoot on here?
Yeah.
Well, it makes me so happy when it works like I want it to. Okay. Okay, I want to play this game. I want to practice. I want to game on. Okay, it's gonna be Garrett.
Nice.
Garrett. Okay. So you can see this, how it's happening in real time, right?
Yes.
Okay, an ecologic footprint is size 12, or the total area of healthy land and water needed to provide resources and use. Can go with this one. I want to figure out how to stop sharing my sound really quick, or to turn the sound off. So I wonder if it will let me. I don't really see a place that it will let me. Sorry, you're gonna have to put up with super annoying Kahoot music that the kids love. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
What? How's Robin beating me?
I don't know. I don't even know who Robin is. So good job, Robin. You're gonna have to be faster next time, Garrett.
Man,
Okay.
I'm a slow reader.
Define anthrome.
Oh man.
What are you thinking? I cannot hear you over the music, so that's a problem. So what I'm gonna do is open up my chat and you can put it in the chat, and that way maybe you can beat Robin next time, all right?
Sounds great.
Okay, chat open. Next. Hey, look, you did beat Robin.
Got it wrong.
Okay, ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's sustainable development. So let's talk about that for a minute. Using resources in ways that preserves the ecosystem is called sustainable development. A renewable resource is a resource that that can renew itself in a timely manner, and a non-renewable resource is something that cannot. So like we're using something like trees, right? We can replant trees and keep using them. Non-renewable would be something like fossil fuels. And sustainable development is just developing an area, an anthrome, a human affected biome, right? We're developing it sustainably, okay? In a way that preserves the ecosystem. All right?
Sounds good.
Oh man, Shima beat us. Okay. True or false? A renewable resource can be produced or replaced by a healthy ecosystem. Garrett's back on top. Dun, dun, dun. Garrett. Okay, let's talk about the word resilient for a minute. So resiliency is the ability to deal with change and move on. So when we're talking about an ecological system, a biome, what do you think that means?
A biome that can bounce back from.
Exactly. So can you think of a biome that wouldn't bounce back after a natural disaster? Or that it would take it a significant amount of time to bounce back?
Any kind of forestation takes a long time to come back.
Okay.
So I know Yellowstone had their fires, and I went just maybe, I don't know, last year, I think, and they're just starting to come back.
Right.
I remember how long ago that fire was.
Or have you ever been out to Critters of the Moon?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a tropical rainforest, right?
Not quite.
No? Do you know how long ago the critters of the moon erupted?
I do not.
Thousands of years ago. And it does not look like a tropical rainforest. So go figure. I don't think it's a resilient environment. Okay. So when something like a natural disaster happens and it completely wipes out the area, it's not resilient, right? Okay. So did it. Okay, who won? That's Shima, whoever that is. Holy Hannah, we have to go through that. Okay.
As long as I beat Robin.
Right? I don't know. After that first round, I thought you were gonna not make it, but you're good. You did it. Okay, so now that we have some scaffolding or a foundation of the vocab words that we're using as we describe an ecological footprint, then I want you to take some time and I want you to compose an idea of what you could do to reduce your ecological footprint. And I want you to use some of those vocabulary words to describe it. So you might say, like, I would say something like, I am going to reduce my ecological footprint by using renewable resources to heat my home. I want you to use 3 vocab words to describe that idea. Okay, so then I'm going to give them 15 minutes to do that, and I'm going to have them write that down. That is going to be their formative assessment. Okay, and then, oh, I totally missed this part. Whoops. Okay, so rewind.
Okay.
We just got done with Kahoot. It was amazing. Somebody won. It was Garrett. And so now let's talk about whether or not you believe that your ecological footprint is sustainable, Garrett.
Sure.
And I want you to use some vocab words to talk about it.
Okay. Obviously, my ecological footprint is not sustainable. It would take 4 Earths if everyone lived as I did, which makes me feel very privileged. I do not invest in renewable resources.
Okay.
What else?
Some other words that we have are non-renewable resources. We have a word called resilience. We have a word called ecological footprint, so you already used that one. We have a word called anthrome. So you could use any of those words, or you could just say, this is what I'm going to do. Now you can just say, like, this is what I'm going to do to reduce my ecological footprint.
Oh man, the problem is I probably won't do it.
Okay, well, you don't have to do it, but you could say, this is what I would do. Or this is what I can do.
I can eat less meat.
Okay. You're going to eat less meat to reduce. What will that reduce?
My ecological footprint.
By what? By why?
By hopefully reducing the amount of water it takes and land it takes to produce that meat.
Okay. And then you also said that none of your meat is locally sourced. So it will definitely reduce the amount of fossil fuels that it will take to bring you your food source, right?
Yeah.
Something that you could do if you wanted to eat the same amount of meat is you could source from a local area. a dairy or a ranch or something. There are definitely farmers and ranchers around here that are selling animals. You could have them take it to the butcher and have it butchered specifically for you in whatever cut you wanted. Okay. All right. So the next thing that I would really like to talk to you guys about is the farming industry in our area. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this. It didn't preset it, so I'm going to pull this up. It's just the ag census of our area. So if we're looking at Madison County, we can see that we have 201,372 acres of land in farms in 2012. The market value of products sold in 2012 was $131 million worth of produce. So that's crops, livestock, and that kind of thing. Okay. So when we're talking about a carbon footprint, we also need to recognize that that's an economy. We have an economy and an ecology here in this area that is worth protecting. So I want you to think about, what if we decided to use the land differently in Madison County, in sugar? What if we developed the land into apartment complexes and we brought in businesses? There was no more farmland in this area. What do you think would happen? What would be the pros of that? What would be the cons of that?
The pros would have a nearby Target.
Okay. So more consumer resources.
Probably more entertainment as well. You wouldn't have to drive out as far.
When you moved here, did you have a hard time finding a place to live?
When I first moved here, I did. Yeah, it was very competitive with other students.
So there is a need for it, possibly. Okay. So more consumer resources, more entertainment. If we brought in more entertainment, what would that open the industry up for? Sorry, I'm trying to lead you into the idea that with more consumer resources, more entertainment, there would be more jobs. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So there would be more jobs. Okay. What can you think of the cons would be for that sort of endeavor?
I think you lose a culture that you get here in Rexburg. This is a farming community, and it takes a lot of pride in that, as it should, and it would be kind of a shame to lose that.
Okay. I want you to think about things that were, so that's a really good answer, and I agree with it. I want you to think about things that are produced on those farms. If we lost the farms, then the production of animals, livestock, of any livestock or any crops would be gone. So where would the rest of the world that we're shipping all of this produce to, where would they get it from?
Probably outside.
Outside of Madison County.
Yeah.
But at some point, if everybody develops farmland, there won't be farmland left, right? What does that do to our local biomes? Like, have you ever been out to Green Canyon?
I have not.
Okay, Green Canyon is a hot springs out past Sugar, and it's surrounded by farmland, rolling hills of farmland. There's a nursery there. There's a natural hot springs there. If we brought in housing and development, then they would be pulling water from the groundwater, right? Eventually the hot springs would dry up. We wouldn't have the rolling hills covered with greenland. Where would all of the wildlife go? So as we're talking about developing or changing, we can think about the change in our biomes, the change in our natural habitats. Okay. So now finally, we're going to take all of this information. We're going to talk about how we as individuals can reduce our ecological footprint. I want you to use 3 words from the vocab, and I want you to just write on that. And I want you to think deeply about what it is that you can do or your family can do to reduce your ecological footprint. And at the end of class, I want you to turn it in. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, that is, so that's all of my lesson. The Kahoot is my formative assessment, but it's not really actually. The Kahoot I'm using as a teaching tool. So my formative assessment is just that beginning discussion about Greta Thunberg and what we kind of think about what possibly our misconceptions are as far as our ecological footprint. And then the assignment that I'm having them turn in at the end of class is the summative assessment, what they learned.
Awesome. So I love the engage activity. I love Greta Thunberg, mainly because unfortunately it is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a political topic. It's
volatile.
That's the word I'm looking for. It's controversial when it really shouldn't be. And something else you can talk about with her, again, I mentioned she has a disability. I can't remember what it is.
I think she has Asperger's or high functioning autism. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she gets discredited because she has a disorder and she's young, you know. So I think that doesn't mean a young person can't, you know, influence change. Here, let me close my door real quick.
Whatever sound you're hearing is not bothering me at all, just so you know.
Okay, good. So I really do love that engage, and I think it fits in well to what we've been talking about with controversial topics. You know, I think you could get, especially like you mentioned in the conservative area, some good discussion out of that. The explore, maybe you were already planning this, but I would have them do their own household. So maybe every student has a different answer, so it relates a little more. So instead of the average American, have them do theirs because they are American, right? So I would think it would average out anyway, you know, so you can get the same point across, but actually let them explore it themselves more. So a little more free range with it. So for that part, just so that you can talk it through with me better, I'm going to break them up into 6 groups with predetermined mock households, because I do want them to understand, like, not everybody lives like them, right? Yeah. So they might be super frustrated if all of them come up with 3 or 4 worlds, right? But if we could get them down to 1 world, like the way that, you know, my friend in Zimbabwe lived, then maybe they would understand, like, oh, we have. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to give them mock households for the calculator. And then I like also how you brought in the local area, so it's more relatable that way too, talking about Rexburg and the Rexburg farming and all your statistics from 2012, you know, it's all local information. So it shows current impact, and it's their literal impact, you know, it's just not some random state or country or anything like that. So I thought that was really great too. I know you emailed me about flow. I think the flow's great. I think it's fun. Honestly, I think this is a great lesson. Oh, and then also another feedback thing that I thought, it's another positive though. Correcting wrong answers on the spot, I think was really good. So taking that moment to actually teach the vocab. And that's really unique too. I've never seen a teacher use Kahoot to actually teach. I've only ever seen it as an assessment. So that's something I'm probably going to steal one day from you. So that was a great idea.
Thank you.
but yeah, I think you have everything. I don't see how you can really include a math section in the amount of time you have. But yeah, I really like this one a lot. This is really
Awesome.
good, Erica. This is awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Good, excellent. I am excited about using Kahoot in that way too, for the reason that, like, I don't think when I was a kid, I would really look at the vocab words in the book, you know, unless the teacher made me write them out, like, this is the word, this is the definition, right?
I like
And like, how do I get that information into them? So I'm excited to use it. I'm glad you like it. That makes me
I
happy.
do a lot because my go-to is always like a PowerPoint or writing it on the board or something, and then doing the scientific definition, and then I'll do like Mr. A's definition, so it's easier and more condensed. I think this is a lot better than that, and I've never even seen that. But it's really creative. It's really creative. I'm a little jealous. I didn't think of it. Because I like to take pride in some of my creative parts in my lessons, but that's really good. I like it a lot.
Awesome.
But
Okay,
yeah,
well, cool.
everything lines up right too. So
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to stop recording and then I want to talk to you about things coming up.
okay.
All right. Stop recording. Do you want to stop cloud recording? Yes.